Well, that was episode 2 of the Great British Bake Off. I'm still Chris.
I'm still Kristie.
And we've got a guest today. Now, we like having our guests. We've changed it up a little bit, and I decided that I'd find someone who can bake. So what we've done is we've gone and found ourselves a baker. Bec Pobjie, how are you going?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
We're wonderful.
Yeah.
We figured that it would be nice to get a baker on, someone who actually understood, baking.
Like what it took to put it together, not just put it in your mouth.
Good at that bit.
Yeah, we've got that bit down.
So
no, I have to say though, like I'm not professional baker. I would like to say that I sort of know what I'm doing, but most of the time I have no idea.
So Val,
I'm making it up as I go along.
So you're comparing yourself to Val.
You sound like you.
Well, I don't know about Val. Like, I don't listen to my bakes.
You don't listen to
No, I'm not a listener and baker.
If you want to be a professional, listen to your bakes.
Look, some people are deaf, like we have to. Some people can't hear bakes. We can't discriminate against the deaf bakers.
What, you think they need a baking hearing aid?
No, just like a little flashing light like they have, or a little baking dog, like a baking hearing dog that can listen to your bakes for you and tell you when it's done.
I don't know. Val's just she's an individual. She's not, because if we look back at Australian Bake Off, Noel listened to his bakes, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Is it like an old person thing?
I've been promoting the idea of a Noel and Val baking show, where they just send them around the world.
That should be good fun.
Send them around the world, listening to bakes all over the world. Maybe not even sampling it, just listening.
Just listening.
Yeah. Just the idea of they walk into a big fancy patisserie in France, the place that Paul and Tegan have apparently been, and they walk in and they open up the big ovens and they're like, would you like some of that? No. Just put their ear up to the oven and go, wonderful, thank you, and leave.
That just sounds thrilling.
What a show. Hey, there's budget in it. So let's get into the episode. It was Biscuit Week. Now,
yes.
I don't know. What do you think about Biscuit Week as a week to really judge people on?
Yeah. It's, I don't know, boring. It's a biscuit.
Yeah.
They're not that adventurous.
And the interesting part for me was that Paul, right off the bat, was throwing a tantrum about they must be crispy.
Crispy head biscuit, or he'll be. No, they had to be as crisp as his hair. And then Mary gave him a funny little look. And I'm thinking, I like a crisp biscuit, but not all the biscuits you get are crisp.
No, exactly. That was what I was thinking. Then not all biscuits are crispy. It depends on the biscuit.
Exactly. And that was, I think the weird part for me was they said the biscuit challenge, then they started making them, then Paul started really complaining to everyone that'll want to be crispy. And the first person that he went to was Louise, who went, I'm doing a fruitcake biscuit. That went well. And it got the Hollywood glare. And poor Louise, second week in a row that she gets the first Hollywood glare of an episode.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't think I would like to get that glare. That would be really off-putting.
Oh, absolutely. You'd be there, right?
She didn't start well, did she?
No.
She was off to a shitty start.
But again, it's the glare that goes along with it could be fantastic or it could be disastrous level of Hollywood feedback, which is terrifying.
And you know that he's thinking it's going to be disastrous.
Oh yeah, whenever he gives them that look, or I mean, it's something that happens in British Bake Off that Matt Moran really can't pull off in the Australian Bake Off, which is the idea of walking up to someone and filling them with self-doubt. Nobody does that like Paul Hollywood.
No, you could be taking a dump and Paul Hollywood come up and go, are you sure that's how you do it? And you're like, I've Like, I was proficient at this when I was a baby, and I'd still have that self-doubt about it.
I'm a bit worried about where you're going to find Paul Hollywood coming to critique that.
You never know. The future is bright.
Is that what the Channel 4 show is? That's what happens when Bake Off leaves the BBC. Suddenly they need to make it a bit spicier.
Unfortunately.
Well, let's be honest. It's going to be a travesty.
Oh, it's going to be horrible. No Mary Berry. No Mel, no Sue. And by the way...
You can't have Bake Off without Mel and Sue. I'm sorry.
And on that note, with tonight, and I remember at the time, this was when there was a family bereavement, which meant that Sue couldn't be there.
Yes, it was sad without Sue. It wasn't the same.
Except everybody in that tent seemed to step up and take on the Sue role at times. We'll come to, when we get to the Gingerbread Challenge, we'll come to the Mel and Val, Laurel and Hardy routine that went on there, which was, where Val briefly became Sue. But everyone seemed to at some point step up and just fill that Sue role of that extra line for Mel. It was like filling in for a comrade, which was wonderful. I think of the biscuits, as you said, they're boring. Tom made biscuits that you'd find either in Newtown in Sydney or in Brunswick Street, Melbourne. It was, the chai frappa lappy wappy happy crappy.
See, Tom for me goes a bit OTT with his flavours there. I think he needs to calm down a little bit.
Well, there was a statement at one point tonight where Paul turned around and said, "Now you seem to be you really go big with your flavours, and you seem to be really good with your flavours, but you haven't managed it yet. Now this is only week 2. How the hell does he know he's good with flavours if he hasn't done it yet?"
Well, yeah, good point. Maybe he was just trying to give him a bit of positiveness before he just hacked him down.
Or maybe in my book, Tom was a little bit bland and they were trying to find a personality.
You're the flavour.
Your flavour. Your flavour. But I'm not. I'm really not.
Pretty vanilla.
I'm really not. You are now.
You won't find him at Hellfire.
And thank you for references. Just moving on. Andrew's discussion of his father's shortbread competitions in the 1970s sounded so much like a euphemism. The idea that his father toured the globe in shortbread contests.
But didn't he say like it was a ladies' contest?
I think so. I mean, maybe...
Yes.
Was his father a very early trans person?
Yeah, possibly.
Potentially.
He's just flying the trans flag for people.
In the 70s by making shortbread and winning their contests.
Yeah.
I like your ideas.
Possibly.
I'd like to subscribe to your newsletter. And, yeah.
No, I was going to say that Andrew was also very excited about it, and I think I would be too if my dad could, cook good stuff. I mean, he eventually got there. He can cook Balmain bugs really good. If my dad could cook shortbread growing up, that'd be awesome. I barely saw him. Okay, this has gotten dark quite fast. Let's move on.
That got very dark very quickly. That's far too...
Moving along.
Far too dark for Bake Off.
That took a turn really quickly.
Sorry about that, Beck.
It does
We're
this.
usually a very lively show.
It does this. Let's liven it up again with one of my favourite topics, Val.
Oh, Val.
Oh, Val. The good news is that she seemed to use all the right ingredients this week.
She did. But I think she was a little bit
confused,
scattered,
ambitious. Val. She gets a little bit ambitious as Val.
My father used to get us ice cream cones, so I'm going to make identical ice cream cones. Val, you haven't made anything identical yet, and you're making single cakes, and not even the cake was identical. So ambitious, and we'll come back to her. Kate,
and can I just say, I love how she dropped some on the ground and then said, I'm not sure if I can say.
Yeah,
can I use those?
I'm not sure I can serve these. It's like they're smashed. They're on the ground.
Does anyone want the floor biscuits?
Yeah, they're on the ground and they're smashed into a million pieces, Val. I'm pretty certain you can't serve them.
I think that kind of answers your question, Val.
And also at that point in time too, what I loved was that Val everyone else was icing theirs, and Val was pondering putting hers in the oven.
Yes, which is why I'm concerned about her, ambitiousness, because she's quite slow.
I think I put down at one point that she seemed to be working with all the speed of continental drift. And the problem for me with poor Val is it just reinforces my theory. She got off a bus. She wandered into the tent by accident. Some poor baker accidentally got put on the bus and sent back to the home, and Val stayed.
Yes, it really does seem that way, doesn't it? Poor Val.
Somebody trying
and poor missing baker.
Missing baker again. They're still in this home trying to convince everybody I was supposed to be on the Great British Bake Off, and they just keep on saying, "Sure you were," and giving them medication.
See, I think we need to give missing baker a name. I think it's probably someone called like George.
It's probably
George is sitting there with a crocheted blanket over his lap, trying to explain to everyone that he's meant to be on British Bake Off, and they're like, "Yes, we're sure you are. Just here's a red pill."
The bib on him and goes, "It's almost lunchtime now, George."
Eventually, George decided that the quality of food was good enough. And it's British food. It's okay.
It's
poor George.
All the drugs are good.
Poor George.
Oh, George.
I'm with you now. It's George. From here on in, it's George. Selassie went with a heat so strong in his biscuits that Mary nearly fell over.
Are you sure it was the heat in his biscuits or the heat just radiating off Selassie?
Yeah, they did say that Selassie has 3 major hobbies, and not once did they say making women swoon.
I think that's his life purpose.
Well, he got the hot part right, didn't he?
He's just... I love Selassie. I really love Selassie. He's amazing in terms of...
He's so smooth and so chill, isn't he? Like, you could set him on fire and he would still just be smooth and cool and chill and, oh, yeah, I'm on fire, but, I kind of go with it.
Look at the end of the challenge. Everyone else is rushing around trying to fix their biscuits up. He's casually eating one of his biscuits.
Yeah, or looking like he's...
Of course.
Yeah, he finished the challenge with, like, yawns, like, oh, that was fun. And then later on, when they went, oh, he's in a bit of trouble, he's leaning against the fence like he's... like I said to Kristie that it looks like Selassie is posing for a dating app. And Kristie's response...
Maybe he is. Maybe it's a 2-in-1 thing. Like, he's there at Bake Off, but also, he's having photos taken for, his dating web, page.
But I've gone, he looks like he's posing for a dating app. And Kristie's responded with...
He is a dating app.
Yeah, and that's all you need to know. He is a dating app. Just download Selassie today. Smooth with the ladies and smooth with everybody, to be fair. Of the other ones, they're all a bit boring. I mean, when they said Michael's other uni passion, I wasn't looking at the screen. I yelled out bong. Then they went beer, that too. Benjamina looked like, to me, until she decorated them, it looked like she'd made Dixie drumsticks.
Yes, they did, didn't they? And the one thing that bothered me was Her and Jane made like florally type biscuits, and I'm really big on if I'm making something, I like to have a theme, so I like my theme to fit the thing that I'm making. So if I'm making, a flower shaped biscuit, then I would really like to have something kind of floral in there to tie the two together.
Yeah.
Mm.
And yeah, that bothered me. And it bothered me that Benjamina did chalk orange, because I really fucking hate chalk orange.
Overdone flavour, like it's like the salted caramel.
You ask people that know me and they would tell you, like, that is one of my passion, pet peeve, massive hates is chalk orange.
So how did you cope with Louise's one last week that looked like a Terry's chocolate orange?
Oh, hated. And she didn't even make it look good. It looked like shit.
Yeah. Trump Pac-Man.
Trump Pac-Man, as you put it. Yeah. It was very appropriate.
But I wanted to say, not Louise. What's Brownie Guide leader? Brown Owl's name. What's it, Stacey?
Kate.
Kate.
Right. Kate had swallows on her cake last week, and now she's got swallow-tailed butterflies that she did for a biscuit. Does she like swallows, or is it just like, no, not in a dirty way? Don't give me that look.
I didn't say anything.
But like, I wonder if it's a theme that she'll like repeat. I'll have to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, the theme of swallows on the biscuits or swallows on the cakes. There's not much more you can make with that, really, is it?
No.
I think you've covered the gamut.
Yeah.
Or the gannet. Or the gannet. See what I did there? Bird references for you. Thank you.
Nice tie-in.
What up?
Yeah, but as Monty Python has taught us, there are two kinds of swallows. She still has another swallow to go.
And as they also taught us, not about the gannet, they wet their nests. Anyway, I was a bit worried about Kate's biscuits, though, to bring it back to baking. Because, remember this is a baking show with us? Focus.
That's why we've got Bec here, because she knows how to do that shit.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
Focus. Kate's biscuits smelled like medicine. And had two flavours that Paul Hollywood openly stated that he hates.
Lavender and bergamot.
I mean, I think it's making soap.
Dopey.
I do like the smell of bergamot, though. That doesn't smell medicinal. I liked Mel's thing. She goes, smells like face cream. I'm sure she said face cream.
Yeah, she did.
Or like that. And I'm like, yeah, that's more of a bergamot flavour scent. They tasted good. That's what the cool thing was, is that Paul goes, ooh, they're good flavours.
And the other interesting thing I found with to get to Jane, because we haven't mentioned Jane yet, in the flower pots. My thing with Jane was that she didn't bother to time it and do a timed practice, which you can practice that one. That would just make sense to me. And
she was star baker. She walked into that tent going, fuck that, I don't need times.
I'll make my own time.
Yeah.
Jane's consistent, right? She's never going to do anything stunning, but she's consistent. She's always going to be in the top couple. She's going to make consistent things. The one thing I thought that was a bit interesting was she dobbed herself in for not finishing off the flowers. If you have a look at them, they were all uniform, and she'd done an outline of the flower pot. She could have just said that's what she intended to do.
She's too honest. She's
told
a good
everyone.
egg, Jane.
She told everyone. I mean, and I found that really... There were a couple, but Rav, with his ones where Paul Hollywood goes, it reminds me of a Thai green curry. And he goes, that wasn't what I was going for. Don't tell Paul Hollywood that. Yes, Paul. Thai green curry biscuits are what I was going for.
But see, these are all nice people. That's the thing about Bake Off. Everyone's just so nice. Like, there's no bitchy person. Like, you can have people that you hate because they're annoying.
Yes. But
everyone's just nice, and they help each other, and they're just...
The interesting thing,
good, honest people. See, and I would be the same. Like, I'd be like, oh, I can see what I did wrong there. And
plus, I guess you've also got like an idea in your head, and you're a perfectionist. Because I do that shit too, just like kind of dog myself in and get in trouble for that, for not. Whereas
I just cover quickly and tell everyone I meant it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's exactly what I meant.
Like, Rep should have gone, yeah, I just wanted everyone to look like me doing massive amounts of cocaine in a forest when it comes to the gingerbread.
Again, I go back to Australian Bake Off. I go back to the Perth Bell Tower. And I go back to the fact that nobody knows what the Perth Bell Tower looks like. So when they go, that doesn't look quite right, your answer is, how do you know? You don't know what the Perth Bell Tower looks like. That's exactly what it looks like. When it fell over, it's a flat building.
There was an earthquake.
Yeah, look, it's Perth. It's not finished yet. Nothing's finished.
But you're totally right, though. Rav could have said, oh, yeah, that's exactly what I was going for, because it's a different flavour, starting a new trend of, Thai green curry flavoured biscuits.
I'm aiming for a different flavour palette. I'm going for different. So everyone also forgets how to count, which I find amazing. Like they're all 1, 2, 3, and then they're recounting. And then Val realised that she couldn't count.
So she dropped some on the floor.
And then she had to make more, and then realised she again couldn't count, and was trying to work out how many short she was, which I was amazed with. She was at 19. They said make 24. Val was like, oh, I don't know how many more I need. Val.
I have to give props to Louisa, though, with her body positive sheep. Like, she was like, he's like, oh, these are all inconsistent. The big sheep and, thin sheep, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, we're all different sizes. I'm like, rock on, Louisa, you positive butter.
Body positivity in the sheep.
There'll be no body shaming sheep where she's concerned.
Now, the comments in this one I think were interesting. Mary Berry, first of all, stating the absolute obvious, where she looked at the biscuits, Michael's beer biscuits, and went, well, we need to taste them. I'm like, well, what else are you here for, Mary? It's a fucking job.
That's like the whole point of the show, Mary.
Well,
I think Mary thinks having a dream.
That looks pretty, doesn't it? Keep walking. Eat the bloody things. And I love Paul and Mary both give Val just the most beautiful backhands. They're just so they're accommodating, but they just. Mary Berry turned around to her and went, I'm sure you can pipe well. With the dots trailing off.
Although Tom did get the first Hollywood handshake.
Yeah, Tom did get the first Hollywood handshake in this episode too.
With his little, he did the he
Tom
did
got
the
it.
coffee.
Yeah, Tom did the frappa-lappa, cuppa-lappa, jappa-lappas.
Okay.
Yeah, he got that. And Kate got the first informal of the series. We haven't had an informal.
Very, very informal.
And then Mary Berry goes, that piping's a bit informal. And yeah, Tom gets the handshake. Tom gets told that he hasn't hit the flavour palette and then gets a handshake. So who the hell knows? Michael, Benjamina, Tom, and Jane, and Candace and Selassie all did okay. And then Louise and Val were just, oh.
Yeah.
They were hot. It could have been disastrous. Now, the Viennese whirl, or as I sort of referred to them after they were all baked, the tray of Monte Carlos.
Not as good as the Monte Carlo.
They've
They've got marshmallow in them.
Because the Monte Carlo, they look more like Monte Carlos because nobody really, I mean, Kate and Jane got a swirl.
Benjamina kind of got a bit.
A little bit, but everyone else just made Monte Carlos.
Yeah.
Well, everyone else has went flat.
Yeah, everyone made Monte Carlos.
So I'm not sure what they did. I noticed a lot of the boys did not whip their butter enough.
No.
Which is why it was so hard for them to pipe. And why they were also very yellow.
Yeah, they were very yellow. You know, to quote that horrendous band, they were all yellow. But as
no.
Please, I would love to leave
Sweary
Coldplay.
Canary will be all over you for that.
Yeah, that was one other thing too. We're talking about how nice they were. Just quickly back onto that.
Yeah.
When Louise dropped to Biscuits, there wasn't a fuck to be heard.
I know.
Now,
Oh, yes. What's with that?
now Sweary Canary.
I would be swear. I wonder if they tell them they're not allowed to swear, because I would have a huge problem with that, because I would be swearing all over the shop.
Well, exactly. And I mean, we go back to Sweary Canary. You know, Fiona drops that pie out of the oven. It made her series.
Yeah.
You know, from that moment on, Personality Plus was just rippling through the whole shed. So she just went off ahead, and I would have done the same thing.
See, they need to make like a Bake Off type show where just everyone can swear.
It's called Channel 4's Bake Off.
Like Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, Gordon's fucking.
Yeah, see, I would apply for that.
Gordon's
I
fucking.
would totally be in there if I could just swear just all the time.
Not even baking, just swearing. Just
Oh no, you could get that
Yeah.
name. Action Bronson.
Action Bronson.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's delicious.
Stoned off his face. Just listening to all these people swear, and he could just eat their bickies.
I've never seen him bake anything. He just grills.
That's right.
So the Viennese whirl, Paul Hollywood turns around and goes, "Where could they go wrong, Mary?" And Kristie at the top of her lungs yells out, "Everywhere!"
Yeah.
It's just, and they did. I mean, you got the first Mary Berry instruction of the year, which was make a jam.
Because everyone knows how to make jam.
Yes, and I loved Michael's. I know the temperature of jam because on the thermometer it says jam. It's clever. And
you know what? It would have been bad if that was like a Michael Jackson thermometer. And you didn't realise that jam was actually just
the Michael Jackson song Jam.
Yeah, that's a long bow.
Oh, that's a long bow, but I'll give it to you.
That just came to my head.
And speaking of things that came into your head, when Selassie cleared his piping bag, yeah, that's exactly the reaction.
Yeah, I think I know where that's going.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't even need to be there.
There was also like a few like little things that they were doing. but they were really quick. Like in the biscuit challenge, there was this moment that it was just this quick flash of Selassie holding the rolling pin, which is this big long thing of wood, at an angle extending from his groin, giving it a few like rubs up and down the wood. And
see, there was, if I may interrupt, there were a few like double entendres.
There's more than a few.
yeah.
Is that? Do you reckon that's purposeful, or do you reckon that's just accident? Because I don't think it's an accident.
I think it's the nature of baking.
It's the nature of British bake. I mean, Paul and Mary always have those little asides, always. And I mean, we saw it in Australian Bake Off this year with Smut Week. Where it was innuendo week, where even Noel was making innuendos.
And that's not what you want.
No, that week was it was filth week. It was everybody except the sweary canary, who was on her best behaviour. Everyone else was making all sorts of inappropriate comments. And the British show never goes quite that far.
What do you mean? Like Mel tonight to Mary Berry after she's eaten.
Yeah, we'll come back to that, because, she really got...
quite
excited.
Yeah. That's all right.
The line was...
Should we eat some carpet, Mary?
Yes. Would you anyone like to eat some carpet? Mary just very quickly went, I'd like to eat some carpet. And
yeah, that's where it wasn't PG anymore.
No. And I mean, I was intrigued by the fact that even with a pub, and we'll come back to the pub again and talk about it in detail, but no one tried to get Mary drunk. And it's a bad week on Bake Off when no one gets Mary very drunk.
Probably didn't need it.
The very least, you've got to offer a tipple. The very least.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was interesting that Selassie got the crumble. I mean, it crumbled because it fell apart, but it crumbled.
Wells. And what's his facing? Not the Tom, the other young
Not
dude.
the Tom, the Michael.
The Michael. The Michael's wells were like irregularly shaped. Like there was like a small bit on the bottom and a big bit on the top.
And then Rav, who just sort of made mini ones.
He made mini ones.
Yes, dainty ones.
Petit fours.
So again, Selassie's were horrible. Val's were underbaked, and Louise's weren't very good either.
No. Kate had the best ones.
Yeah, she did. Kate actually got, and Jane, and it's the sort of thing that you just expect Jane to get right.
Now, be honest here, Bec. If you were making these Viennese wells, would yours be better than Kate's?
I want to say yes, but then I don't want to seem up myself.
No, okay. we don't want ego. We want accurate. So
yeah. Well, I've made some before, and they were pretty good.
Nice. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, we'll take that. We thoroughly would take that, because we haven't been thrilled with the overall quality of British Bake Off this year, and we've openly said that we think that the Australian Bake Off contestants from the last season would have romped through this series of British Bake Off.
I have to agree.
Just the high quality. I mean, last week with that first set of challenges, which were basically 3 bake a sponge, and
with different accoutrements.
There were people who couldn't bake a sponge properly.
Drizzle cake's pretty easy.
Yeah, but they couldn't work out a drizzle. Most of them.
No, it's really not that hard.
And then Val complained that the problem was that there was too much icing, not enough drizzle. And my response was, Val, they didn't ask for icing.
Exactly. Icing is not drizzle, Val. Sorry.
This again.
But she couldn't tell the difference between
the bus and the tent. So caster sugar, icing sugar, flour. She got it all mixed up. Anyway, gingerbread. Now, you had to make a story that was important to you. And again, back to Val. I really wanted Val to make the story about how she got away from the day trip bus.
This is me. The 2 of us.
This is me escaping my confines.
Leaving my medical alert button. To eat a bush.
But no, she did. Escape from New York. You said Planet of the Apes.
It was all she needed to do at the end of that, with the Statue of Liberty poking out. This time, like a little bigger, like just bashing it.
Dr. Zayas sort of. Troy McClure dancing across singing the Dr. Zayas song.
Gosh, I was wrong.
They were. Not many of them held brilliantly. I mean,
Andrew's.
No.
well, Andrews did, but you'd expect Andrews to. He's an engineer and architect.
Oh, look, after
Yeah, I would have been disappointed if Andrews had have collapsed.
If Andrews had collapsed, I wouldn't want to be in one of his buildings.
No, exactly.
Like when Val said, I've been making this gingerbread for 40 years, at no point did she say, well.
No.
I've been doing
Maybe she just assumed that we would think that
I've been making
she would have changed her recipe.
I've been making it for 40 years, and one of these days I will get it right. If I keep trying, I will get it right.
Yes.
Who knows?
Who knows?
And I mean, Louise, the church for the wedding.
Louise.
The church for the wedding.
5 tombstones. I'm like, she doesn't strike me as a goth. Good on her.
That's maybe why she had such a disaster. She went dark. She went morbid.
It just seemed to be really foreboding and sort of, warning of the future.
Well, she could have taken a listener, what's his book, who did the spun sugar like a few seasons ago.
Yeah.
He just spun sugared the shit out of his barn to make it look like cobwebs.
Yeah,
She could have just spun sugared the church.
And again, you could have just said it's a deconstructed church.
Yes,
It's an open air church.
It's a Lutheran church. Deconstructing it.
No, we just say it's an old medieval church. There's no roof on it. It's a big open air church, and I wanted an open air feeling for my wedding. They're not visiting the damn thing.
I didn't put a roof on because I wanted God to see.
It's like, where a couple of other people, I'm sure, just invented. Like, I'm thoroughly convinced that Michael's trip to Santa was because he only knows how to make Christmas gingerbread.
Do you think he got people to Photoshop him into those pictures? Like, you know how people put up requests on Reddit and stuff going, oh, Photoshop me with, like, myself in a bikini standing next to George Clooney.
Yeah.
He's like, Photoshop me in Lapland.
Lapland visiting Santa.
See, Santa in Lapland, that just sounds a little bit wrong to me.
It?
Like, it sounds like Santa went to a strip club.
It does.
But in the end, Lapland looks kind of scary, so not really the kind of strip club anyone really wants to go to.
Look, I mean, to be honest with you, I think that would have made for a better gingerbread structure.
It makes sense then why it says ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, it does make more sense. The ho, ho, ho makes more sense.
Yeah.
But I would also, again, I think his gingerbread structure would have been much better if it was a stripper pole and, like revolving stage where Pony was playing were genuine, The stripper elves coming out.
The pole's a candy cane.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're making his bake or if we've just designed a strip club that's Christmas themed.
Well, it only pop up once. It's a pop-up strip
It's a
club.
pop-up strip.
Strip and burlesque, because, we want to cover all bases.
But we don't want it to be the gift that keeps on giving. Anyway, with that in mind, and also just quickly, Kristie's comment on Selassie and this challenge was he laughs like Dr. Hibbert from The Simpsons.
He does this little chuckle. It says,
It does, actually. You are very right there.
I didn't notice. Now I'm going to have to listen next time.
Yeah, you're going to have to listen to his chuckle. It is very... Because he's so laid back. Like, nothing worries the man. I mean, nothing worries the man.
His church is really good, though.
Yeah, his church was great.
Oh, Bec, because baking stuff, as I keep repeating it. Louisa's church, because she put the icing on the outside, would that have made it difficult for it to stand up? Like, is that... You don't do that?
Well, it would have added to the weight of the walls. And if she didn't have good icing on her seams,
which she didn't,
then, that would have been an...
Yeah, it looked very much like that icing just pulled the thing down.
Yes. And they should have all brought some cans of tomatoes or something in just to hold everything up. I don't know if they're allowed to. Maybe they're not allowed to because they're hoping everyone's structures fall over.
Yeah, you can use whatever you've got on your bench and stuff like that to hold it all up. And Candace,
no one seemed to do that.
So you can prop it all up until it's all set. And Candace at the pub, and we'll get to the pub in a second, but we're going to do that in detail. But she was holding the walls up with she had the ruler on an angle, and she was propping those, and that was heavy. Was heavy, and she managed to hold those up really well. So she, again, her seams seem to be, strong. Seamless.
Yeah. The secret is good royal icing and props to hold everything together.
Yeah, I wouldn't dare attempt. I just wouldn't dare attempt.
I just probably get some epoxy. Don't eat the corners.
Can't
So
eat
a non-edible gingerbread house.
It's actually structurally sound and it's designed for a small rodent.
Alternatively, I'd just get a shoebox and spray paint it brown and stick lollies all over it.
Okay, we've now come to a kindergarten craft project.
Hey, my level of
Macaroni on the outside?
Yes.
Yeah, thought so.
Dyed
macaroni? Elbow macaroni?
Elbow macaroni.
Is there any other kind for this? Now, it's the most enthusiastic I've ever heard Mary Berry when Kate said, I'm doing 3 types of gingerbread, and loudly and forcefully she went, sounds fun! And
I know what Mary Berry does on the weekends.
3 different types of gingerbread, apparently. But I've never heard Mary so enthusiastic. Sounds fun!
It must be like every what's it called? Showstopper challenge in Biscuit Week has to be gingerbread because it's Mary's fun time.
Now,
it's in her contract.
Now, again, the thing that I think came out of that, though, was that Kate's option of going for 3 types of gingerbread sort of backfired.
It did. They couldn't taste the ginger.
Yes, and there were a couple of those where they went, it's gingerbread. I can't taste the ginger.
Her design was so good. And were you a girl guide or a brownie, Bec?
I was both.
So was I. And did you see what Mary got when she was saying the promise? I'm like, oh my God, I do that too. So it's just there's this thing you wouldn't understand.
No, I don't understand.
You didn't have to dance around a toadstool.
I didn't have to.
No. My mum was brown out.
But you didn't have to.
There's no requirement. I just did it on my days off.
No, my mum was brown owl, but she wasn't the real brown owl. She was called Possum.
She was the fake brown owl?
No, she was the
Sounds
replacement.
like a spy drama.
She was the replacement brown owl. Brown owl went missing.
It's a spy drama. Brown owl. It wasn't real
brown owl tragedy.
Yeah. But then when I went to become a leader, the girls gave me the name Frog because I took them on their first guide camp. It was a shared one because we were a Povo group. And I was in the dunny and I didn't switch on the lights. I couldn't be bothered and I didn't want to wake anyone up. So I'd gone to reach the loo paper and there was a fucking frog on the toilet.
Oh my God.
And I screamed as if there's an axe murderer going through. The girls have all woken up, switched on the lights. Luckily I pulled up my pants at this point and there's a frog there kissing myself laughing. So that's how I got my name.
See, the good part about this podcast, Bec, is that I'm learning so much more about Kristie every episode.
You chose.
Yep. Sure did. Let's get. Well, we're going to come back to the pub last because it's so much to do. I love that Tom's wonderful memory of his childhood was nearly dying on
a near-death experience. That was fun, wasn't it?
Yes, and the way it looked kind of like it was either a cross between. They were supposed to be both hanging off the Alp by one hand, but it looked like either one of those symbols for a charity that's providing hope for the future. Or it was like the really bad graphical logo for a Michael Jordan basketball game from about 1993, where they're both reaching for a ball. I don't know which it was. But
it was a really good structure though, and it was colourful, which kind of took away from the morbidness of the situation.
I like to think of it as a children's book. Tom and Pod's
near-death experience.
One day Tom and Pod were out partying.
And again, the bright colours let you see the picture book.
Oh, absolutely. Have to be a pop-up book.
I like the idea.
Yes.
Genius. I like the idea that wasn't so much a bake as it was their proposal to the publishers. Look, where is your proposal? Where's your manuscript? Well, funny, don't have a manuscript. What I do have is a diorama.
A tasty.
Made of gingerbread.
A tasty gingerbread diorama.
Holy shit, that's what we should have done at school, is learn how to make gingerbread. And so when we had to do those shitty dioramas, we handed them in with gingerbread. And then the teacher would have passed me.
Maybe.
Okay, back at the baking.
And Andrew continues with his university memories. I mean, last week it was where he talked about, that good old traditional university memory of the first cake you baked.
Oh, I remember the first cake I baked.
The first thing I think about it with university is first cake I baked. And Andrew continues the trend by his university days of punting at Cambridge. Now, he has such a down-to-earth vibe about him, doesn't he, Andrew?
I just want him to come in with a boater and one of those stripy jackets and a little bow tie. And a
I say, chaps.
Yes.
Hopefully talking.
Yeah.
I sense a continuous theme going on here, I have to say.
Oh, I just think the funny part for me is that I'm sure Andrew thinks these stories that he's telling everyone are relatable.
When they're just boring.
Oh no, maybe to his prime audience from 1919.
Yeah, from the 1919 crowd. I'm not sure if he's a real person at this point or a character out of Chariots of Fire.
Maybe he might be a time traveller.
Possibly. Maybe there's a TARDIS.
Yeah, the doctor got a bit bored of his baking. I went,
He wanted to be a ginger.
You wanted to be a ginger.
Finally.
Oh, he could be the next
Finally.
doctor.
Andrew's the next doctor. Done.
I'd love it if Mary Berry or Sue and Mel became the new companions.
That would be perfect. With Andrew as the doctor.
Yeah, and Val makes an appearance.
Oh, Val, I don't know.
In the Christmas episode, she causes the big catastrophe that they have to...
Can Val be the TARDIS? Just Val as the TARDIS come to life again? Because that always goes well.
Yes. Okay, back to the baking.
Back to the baking. When Kate commented that the children are all cooked now, that wasn't disturbing much.
No, not much at all.
And then the little...
So when you cook your children, Bec, at what temperature? You got a really good...
It's a slow cook, I reckon.
Yeah, it's a slow cooker.
About 140, 150.
Yeah.
Could you speed up the process by, dicing them, throwing them in a pressure cooker like that?
Not for a bake.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Not for a bake, though. Not for a bake. If you're slow cooking them just on, rotisserie, then yes, 100%.
See, that would have been mine. It's like, I would have been like, I'm the witch that was in the gingerbread house. They want to, refute it. I'd show them my photoshopped pictures of me as the witch of the gingerbread house.
Much like the photoshopped pictures of him at Lapland.
Yes.
The Lapland, not the strip club. Anyway, and I love a little bit of banter between Paul and Mary while Val was cooking, where they just looked and went, you know what, I don't think she'll get completed. And then Mary goes, well, neither do I, but it would be nice.
It would be nice. And she did complete, but then it just fell down.
They've got no confidence in Val whatsoever.
But does anyone have any confidence in Val?
No, but to be fair, she doesn't give anyone reason.
Her grandson seems to have confidence in her.
Her grandson's one.
Yeah, but in the 2 shots I've seen of him, he seems to have complete confidence and a biscuit shoved in his mouth.
No, he seems to have the biscuit being pushed out of his mouth. I think even he's rejecting the bakes.
Oh dear.
But let's get to the pub. No, I don't mean we're leaving. I mean we'll talk about the pub. I'm not even going to talk to the technical skill in that. That pub, just wow.
Yeah, she did a really good job, Candice, as much as I don't like Candice, but she did do a good job. It was huge.
That's just the structure standing for me was a minor miracle in terms of the size of it. And then the sticky ginger carpet and the
jelly for the pool table.
Yeah.
The people behind the bar, her parents behind the bar.
And everything was
their brother.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Fiona's bake. Oh, that's what I wanted to say that we should have done for her church, is that she should have just made her really, really big, like as a bridezilla, smashing her church.
She should have done that.
Yeah. Again,
you should have a backup plan. If you ever go on Bake Off and you need a backup plan, you have to take a dinosaur or something with you in case your structure falls over.
Exactly.
Because that's like an Olivia playbook thing. Oh, what's in my bag of plastic toys? Palm trees. Sweet.
I've got a dinosaur. Beautiful. Again, it's the live way of handling it.
So anyone
Okay.
In case your structure falls over.
Yeah.
It's perfect way to cover it. Now let's get to the assembly, shall we? Because that's the fun bit. Mm-hmm. And by assembly, I mean everyone's shit falls down. Louisa's never looked like standing. There was no point in time where I was convinced that church was going to stand up.
No.
Not once.
No.
Val and Mel then conducted what I refer to as the Laurel and Hardy sketch of the tent, with Mel trying to help Val, and Val just walking away from her the whole time.
I'm shepherding you, Val.
I'm shepherding, Val, shepherding. What do you need help with? And she's gone. Where are you, Val? You're over there, Val. Good girl. And like Val just in her own little world, and Mel trying to guide her towards what she should be doing, and Val just walking to other benches and.
Yeah, Val's in her own little world, I think.
Oh, I don't know how you cover Val. I feel sorry for the cameraman that had to follow her around.
I'm actually surprised she isn't a natural at talking about what she's doing, because like you think like someone her age is just chatting away merrily while they're doing stuff at home. It's really ageist, isn't it?
That was very ageist. Anyway, but to be fair, to go back with the ageist comment there, where she goes, puts up the Statue of Liberty and goes, she's kind of holding. And as she says that, the Statue of Liberty falls backwards and knocks 3 walls down. Which is very Val.
Yes.
It's totally Val.
Benjamin
Totally.
Chrysler building.
Yeah, Benjamina. Again, I loved her Chrysler building, but
yeah, just didn't quite.
There's a lot of people who reach for the stars, and that whole, shoot for the stars, because even shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll hit the stars. Bullshit.
There's a lot of empty space.
There's a lot of people shooting for the moon and coming back into the atmosphere and burning up on re-entry. I'd say Louise is very much that camp of, I shot for the moon. I sort of challenged her. She challenged her.
She was a challenger.
She got off the launch. She got off. Not too soon. Got off the launch pad, but didn't get out of the atmosphere.
Oh, lost someone's spider experiment.
Why didn't they do Challenger?
Oh, that would have been because that wasn't their memory.
Maybe it was. I was watching TV one day, and a spacecraft blew up, and they just do bits of it everywhere. Congratulations, done.
Oops, they dropped them.
Oops, they dropped the Space Shuttle Challenger. Anyway.
That was not on the day.
Thank you, Massimo Bottura. Anyway. So, Louise's icing pulled her walls down, but Val's fell down without any help. And Val didn't do any piping. Now, I really thought that even though that Val did better than Louise at the technical, and that's probably why she stayed, I thought that Val should have gone.
Me too. I think I wrote in my, because I took notes, I wrote in my notes that Val got lucky. So I would be surprised if Val lasts much longer.
Because they said that Louise's tasted good. It was just a shame that it didn't work. But if you look at the only thing that failed on hers was the roof. She had the walls were standing. She had the bride and groom. If she put them on the same tray as the church and taken it up as one, only a roof.
Her bride and groom looked really good too. Yeah. I thought they were good elements.
It's only a roof, whereas Val once again didn't bake hers properly, and never commented on that. Although, as Paul Hollywood did say, your sister tastes lovely.
She could have at least done a rab thing and just sprinkled some fucking icing sugar over it.
Yeah, I'm going to ice that, pretend it's not. And then when Paul goes, is it burnt? Possibly. And Rab's standing there going, of course it's fucking burnt. It's very but and then the other one was Mary Berry to Val when she said, we've had this problem with finishing before, haven't we? Every bake, Mary.
That's when you need to get an erectile dysfunction out. It's just all at the same time.
My view, Bec, was that Val has not so far in any of these challenges finished a bake.
She has not.
And I'm just sitting there going, I felt for Louise. I really did.
And the thing is, like, Louise's sheet, they might have been more cakey than Biscuit, but they were well presented. I thought they looked really cute.
They were well iced.
They did look cute. And they were finished.
Yeah. They were finished. There were 24 of them. She could count.
Yeah.
Again, Val's underbaked. She underbaked 2 of her bakes. She stuffed up the ice cream cones in terms of she couldn't ice them properly, and they were ice cream cones. Louise, again, the biscuit was too chewy for Paul's liking, but it was really well iced. And they commented about her gingerbread, but it was only the roof.
Yeah.
I thought it was bad luck for Louise.
They must have just flipped a coin out the back. Like, seriously?
Either that or they decided that Val was good television.
Yeah, the producers come up and gone, no, we won't be getting rid of Val.
Producers gone, we need to keep her. We need to keep her.
It's repertoire.
Oh, yeah, I think that must have been what happened. But, and yeah, the Santa's Workshop from Hell cover by Michael, which I think probably saved it. Why didn't everyone else do that? Make a joke. Cover it. Make it look like that's what you meant.
Yeah, I meant Santa not to have white, fluffy, fur on his thing and to put black.
He was supposed to look demonically possessed. It was the vibe. It's what I remember of Lapland. It was terrifying. I sat on this old man's lap. It was terrifying. Point to the gingerbread figure as the winner. Anyway. We go dark quickly.
Okay, this one needs a trigger warning.
It definitely does. And I think, again, I wasn't as impressed with the standard of baking. And was Candace consistent across 3? No, she wasn't.
No.
I thought that, again, if you want consistency, I thought Jane was the most consistent.
Benjamina as well.
Benjamina's was, even with that, the rest of her bake was still fairly consistent.
Yeah.
Benjamina was consistent.
Lassie was consistent.
Kate was consistent.
Oh, no, he was crumbly, wasn't he?
Yeah, Kate was consistent. Andrew was fairly consistent across the course of it, but nobody did anything outstanding, and that pub was stunning.
That pub could have been in the first episode of Great Australian Bake Off.
And I think that the second they did that pub, and they even said it in the judging, whereas normally it's like consistency over the course of did this bake well? They didn't even hide it. They just went, look at the pub. Just look at the pub. She has to win.
Yeah.
So
it's fair. It's fair.
So I think I don't know. I think Candace was the right call for Star Baker. And I think we all agree that Val was very lucky.
So very lucky.
Should have bought a lottery ticket that week, Val.
I think she definitely should have.
So
overall though,
guys.
So overall though, off the first 2 weeks, what do we sort of think of the series so far?
I think it's a little bit slow to start with. I'm hoping that it will build.
Waiting for the pickup, waiting for the sort of to take off. And
Red Week's next week.
Red Week.
Red. Oh, we know Candace is going to be wearing red for bread.
There's a rhyme there, aren't you?
No, that's what she said to Mel.
I know
she did say that.
Yeah, she did.
And high-fived. I think.
They did high-five too, yes. I just had to high-five you because
that makes good podcasting.
Yeah, it makes for great podcasting, high-fiving people. That's my other podcast.
Interpretive Dance podcast.
The Interpretive Dance Weekly. What a pod. It's a great podcast. Don't miss it. If you can find it, good luck. We're miles off topic.
Back to the baking.
Yeah, I mean, and look, for me, the disappointing part about Bread Week is that it's the first Bread Week without Alvin from the last series of British Bake Off. No ciabatta, because all Alvin wanted to bake last series was ciabatta. Even when they said bake something else, it was ciabatta. He baked 3 ciabatta loaves. No, that's right. He baked 2 ciabatta loaves, and the third thing he baked was just every piece of bread ever.
No, but then something that looks like a ciabatta.
That was the week after where he wasn't supposed to be making bread, and he made like a ciabatta loaf. It's like, I know where my strengths are. To this day, when we walk into a shop and there's ciabatta, we have to look at it like Alvin and go, ciabatta. It's perfect. Well, this has been a fascinating experience for you, I'm sure. Thank you for being a part of it.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Oh, Jack, it's been wonderful because I've been finally able to go, oh, but, technically, could you actually do this? Like, what's going wrong here?
She asked me and I just go, I don't know, Australian Women's Weekly Kids Baking Book. And I have told you I am finally going to get around to that making of the pool.
Yeah,
so
you owe it.
I do owe it. I did say I was going to do that during the Australian series. And
yeah.
Oh, you better get on that then. I look forward to seeing that.
I may have to do that for Australia Day, so I may have to do that.
Do it.
Yeah. All right. I'll get to that. So until next time, thank you, Bec.
Thank you.
So I've been Chris.
I've been Kristie.
And we'll catch you next time. Thank you. Bye.